Once you've got some more power running behind you, you can start upgrading some of your machines to medium voltage. And you are actually going to need medium voltage machines. Some of them you may not need to upgrade immediately, some of them you will, because certain recipes do require certain tiers of machines. So as usual, in medium voltage, the goal is making the advanced integrated circuit. One of the items needed for it is a transistor. So a transistor is made in the assembler. And we need fine tin wire, very easy to make, and then two more difficult items, a silicon plate and liquid polyethylene. So here is the advanced assembler with polyethylene. How do we make it? It's this setup before me, and we're going to be learning about a few new concepts in here. So number one, the advanced brewery. You can use a basic brewery, I don't think it really matters. So what I'm doing is I'm using a hopper, because yes, you can hopper items into Gregtech machines, and I'm putting in potatoes. I'm also putting in some water. The potatoes and the water is going to make biomass. I'm then exporting the biomass into an advanced distillery, where the biomass, with a circuit setting of 1, will make wood pulp. Really? Wood pulp? Yep, okay, wood pulp. But it will also make ethanol. So when I look at ethanol, you can see in the distillery, we've got 3 ways of making it: fermented biomass, wood vinegar, or biomass, which is the recipe I'm choosing. And it shows here again, medium voltage, so you know which tier you need. So from 1 bucket of biomass, we get 600 millibuckets of ethanol. Now, what you also need to put into this advanced chemical reactor here is sulfuric acid. Notice on the sulfuric acid it says handle with care, acidic. That means that I cannot put it through normal bronze fluid pipes. Now, the easiest pipe that you can transport sulfuric acid with would be, in my opinion, vanadium steel. So you will need to make a new material, vanadium steel. Vanadium steel ingots are made in a mixer. Well, that's not quite true. You make vanadium steel ingots in an electric blast furnace with a program circuit of 1 with vanadium steel dust. And cupronickel is fine, so you can use your basic EBF that you would have already made. Vanadium steel dust is made in a mixer, made from chromium, vanadium, and steel dust. You would have already been making steel, so you know how to make that. Vanadium and chromium are both ores that can be dug up and ore processed. So it's actually quite easy, a lot easier than it seems. You just get these 3 materials and circuit program it to 1. You made vanadium steel, put it through an EBF, you've got vanadium steel, and you can then make in an extruder with an extruder mold vanadium steel fluid pipes. But you do need it to be a medium voltage extruder in order to do that. And that's how you can transport your sulfuric acid. If you've forgotten how to make sulfuric acid, because you should have already been making it, it's going to be in a chemical reactor with liquid sulfur. Actually, let me go back to low voltage. You're going to make sulfur dioxide into sulfur trioxide into sulfuric acid. And that is in the chemical reactor with water. So sulfur trioxide. So I've got mechanism installed as well, so it's not playing ball. There we go. So chemical reactor, water and sulfur trioxide make your sulfuric acid. Sulfur trioxide is made in a chemical reactor with sulfur dioxide and oxygen, which you would have already been making. I've shown you multiple ways, if you're watching this in my ultimate guides, etc., on how to make oxygen with sulfur dioxide. And that one is made, I'm having to remember here, either with sulfur dust and oxygen in a chemical reactor, or in the electric blast furnace with your sphalerite dust and oxygen that you would have been making earlier, etc. So, etc., etc., etc. There's a few ways to make sulfuric acid, but to be able to transport it, you will need the vanadium steel. So what you're seeing here is a super tank. Now, I'm being lazy. You can't make super tank 2s yet. I'm just using this because I'm in creative and it was an easy way for me to store it. What I should be showing you is the super tank 1. So obviously your sulfuric acid will be coming in from your EBF or your chemical reactor, should I say, etc. But either way, put the ethanol that you're making from the distillery. I'll go through this again all at once, so it's not to confuse you. And your sulfuric acid. So sulfuric acid and ethanol will then make you your ethylene. put the ethylene in a chemical reactor with oxygen gas, and you will get polyethylene. Now, there's a few things that are going to be annoying here, and even took me a while to work out, because I haven't played Gregtech in a while. One of them is going to be diluted sulfuric acid. So, when you mix together sulfuric acid and ethanol, you can see it's making some up here, you will get ethylene, woohoo, but you're also going to get diluted sulfuric acid. So you need to get rid of the diluted sulfuric acid, basically. So what I've done here is I'm using a super tank 1. To go into the super tank, you'll notice it says fluid voiding disabled. Click that to enabled. So as you can see in here, I've got 3 buckets of diluted sulfuric acid. When you put fluid voiding enabled in, so I know it says disabled here, but that's saying if you click it, it will disable it. And now it's saying if you click it, it will enable it. Oh, in fact, it should just show as enabled. There you go. It will only void the fluid once the tank is full, so don't worry about that. Now we need to look at filtering the fluids. So what I've done here, if I just destroy this fluid pipes, is I've actually put onto here another filter. So we know that we can use robot arms to filter items. Well, to filter fluids, we use an electric pump. And the same way you put robot arms on, you right-click it onto the side of the machine, you can shift right-click to actually access the fluid pump and make a fluid filter in order to filter fluids. And you'll notice in here, I can just drag, ethylene or whatever onto the grid from JEI to filter fluids. I'm going to whitelist it. So I'm whitelisting ethylene. Now what you'll notice is that it's on export and I'm whitelisting it. It doesn't really work very well with exporting fluids. You can see I've got auto export here, and obviously it would get stuck because this bit would get full of diluted sulfuric acid. So what I tend to do is I filter on the import. So I'm filtering my advanced chemical reactor here for ethylene on import. This will work perfectly. It's only going to import ethylene into the chemical reactor. If I didn't put that filter for importing, I'd get the diluted sulfuric acid in here as well, which would be annoying. However, if I put my vanadium steel here and my vanadium steel here and connect it up, it's still going to export the diluted sulfuric acid, and you're going to have in these pipes sloshing around diluted sulfuric acid with nowhere to go. Now, Gregtech isn't clever enough to, if I had, say, fluid pipes coming down here to a tank, it would still be sloshing around with the ethylene and it can make a big mess. What I recommend you do is as soon as the diluted sulfuric acid comes out, immediately have a tank here for it to go into, and it won't slosh about. What I'm saying is, the TLDR, have this set to export automatically for the ethylene and diluted sulfuric acid, and immediately have a tank, a super tank 1, with a fluid pump on it, with a filter to import the diluted sulfuric acid. So it must be immediate, so that otherwise it won't slosh around. And then obviously the only fluid left, because you're importing only into here the diluted sulfuric acid, is the ethylene will go down here into the advanced chemical reactor as you want. So import fluid filter with an electric pump on the chemical reactor with ethylene. Immediately after exporting the chemical reactor, you have a tank 1 going into diluted sulfuric acid. Now, another thing to note here on making your super tank 1 is you will need a hermetic casing 1, which will require a large polyethylene fluid pipe. So you will have to manually make some polyethylene to make the fluid pipe before setting this up. So once you've made some ethylene, I would get a bucket. Hopefully this isn't getting too complex, but it is Gregtech. It's going to be complex. I'm trying to explain it as simply as I can. You can get a bucket and just click here to get the ethylene out, and then manually put it into the advanced chemical reactor. Make your polyethylene, which is obviously going out into my assembler, and then use your first few buckets of polyethylene in a fluid solidifier to make polyethylene ingots, which you can then turn into your polyethylene fluid pipe, which you can then turn into a hermetic casing to make your super tank 1, so that you can then immediately filter inputting that diluted sulfuric acid, have the ethylene go into your advanced chemical reactor, and voila, it will all work perfectly. Hopefully I didn't make that super complicated and it made sense. Let's go over it one more time in full and see how we're making the liquid polyethylene. Step 1, make an advanced brewery. Have a hopper or whatever you want on it, using potatoes, etc. There's a few different vegetables you can use with water to make biomass. Export it on the export thing, auto on the fluid, going into an advanced distillery. That needs circuit settings of 1 with just biomass, and it will make it into wood pulp, get rid of that somewhere, and you'll also get ethanol. Step 3, export the ethanol into an advanced chemical reactor with your sulfuric acid that you're making elsewhere, with your ethanol, put them together, and that will automatically make you ethylene. But it will also, as a byproduct, make diluted sulfuric acid. Immediately, on the first pipe, have a supertank 1 importing the diluted sulfuric acid with an electric pump and a fluid filter. Further down the line, have another import filter and electric pump going into an advanced chemical reactor with oxygen gas. Them two together will make you liquid polyethylene, which you can then put into an assembler ready to make your transistors. The transistors will also require, of course, silicon plate, but that's a whole nother story. Don't forget, you will need to make vanadium steel in order to transport your sulfuric acid because it's quite acidic, and that is quite an easy thing to make as well. So there we go. You've made liquid polyethylene. Once you see it in front of you like this, and the steps that I've hopefully could just condensed it in should make it a bit easier for you. But there's a lot of things to factor in here, like I mentioned. I hope you did enjoy the video. Click that subscribe button if you did, and of course leave a thumbs up. If you're looking for other mod guides, I do a hell of a lot on this channel. My actual goal on this channel is to complete every major mod in the entirety of Minecraft for Forge, Fabric, etc. If you look at my channel, I have a tech mod shelf, a magic mod shelf, a utility and standalone mod shelf, so ones that aren't in playlists. I also have now mod pack guides as a shelf. So at the moment, I am live streaming through RLcraft, and you can get that, of course, on my lives. I live every Wednesday and Saturday, and you can always see when the next scheduled stream is. And I play through the mod pack, and then I will also do separate guides on that mod pack. So if you are looking for specific mod packs, or you just want to come along and ask me some questions or hang out, you can also do that there. Do also just use the search bar if you are looking for a specific mod. And if you'd like to play with me, the mod pack that I do live stream, I do from our Patreon server, which of course you can join down below, which would massively support the channel, but also gets you access to things like that.